Hi, this is Donna Warren with the Critical Thinking Center at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, and today I would like us to consider problem solving. Now, as we've seen, problem solving differs from decision making insofar as when we are called upon to make a decision, we frequently have an array of options sort of presented to us, and our task is to select the best one. In problem solving, the overarching question is not which among these options should I choose, but how in general can I achieve a desired end state? And what we need to do is figure out the potential solutions or options for achieving that end state and then choose the best option. So a question that can guide us as we solve problems is there a better option that we haven't considered? Let's see how that works. First off, we can think about problem solving as a kind of means-ends reasoning, where the question that we have in mind is the end state that we want to achieve. How can I get to E, where E is the end state? And I decide that I should do M, where M stands for means, because, this is an argument again, I want to achieve that end state, and I have good reason to believe that engaging in this means will help me to achieve that end state. Let's take a look at a specific example. Suppose that I want to make more friends. So my end state is having more friends. My question is, how can I make more friends? And suppose that my answer is, I should join a club. My reasoning is, I want to make friends, my end state. Joining a club will help me to make friends. This is a means to that end. So I decide to adopt the means or join the club. Now, the thing about means-ends reasoning is there's always, or at least almost always, more than one way to achieve a result. There's always, or almost always, more than one means to an end. Ideally, this is what we should do. I should think, joining a club is the best available option for me for making friends. This is called optimizing. It's the optimizing solution. The picture here is that I have considered each and every possible way that I could make friends, and I've evaluated them, much as I would evaluate options if I'm engaging in rational decision making, thinking about the costs and the benefits and the probability of success and the probability of failure and all of that. And then from this array of, 900, 1,000, 10 different ways that I could make friends, I choose that because it is the optimizing best of all available solutions. Of course, we often don't do that. That would be exhausting. Frequently, we just don't have the resources available to consider all options that are available to us and then evaluate all of those options. Instead, in practice, what we do is something like this. Joining a club is the first somewhat adequate idea that occurred to me. I'm sitting at the coffee shop and I'm thinking, I want to make friends. How can I do it? Hey, joining a club, that might work. And then I get on my smartphone and I figure out what clubs are available. That's called the satisficing solution. I'm not even pretending to myself that it is the optimal solution. I just think it's probably good enough. Satisficing is not always bad. In fact, as we've seen, satisficing is sometimes kind of forced upon us, just in virtue of the fact that we have limited time and limited energy to figure these things out. But sometimes we should beware of satisficing. Sometimes we should ask, is there a better option? And here are a few cases, a few types of cases when we should probably check ourselves and make sure that we are not satisficing inappropriately. Sometimes we might have set our acceptability threshold too low. Our understanding of what good enough is not quite high enough. Suppose, for instance, that my end state is that I want to support myself. And so I decide, hey, I need to pay the bills. Working for Corp Co will help me to pay the bills. Working for Corpco is the first somewhat adequate idea that occurred to me, so I'm going to work for Corpco. Well, maybe just being able to pay the bills is an unduly low acceptability threshold. Now, maybe not. I'm not saying that that is always unacceptably low. Sometimes that's all we really need to be thinking about at any given moment. But if I'm thinking about like a career or what I want to be doing for the next 10 years, maybe I should consider something like, how much will I enjoy the work? What are the opportunities for advancement? What are the sorts of people that I would meet if I take this job, right? I should beware of setting my acceptability threshold too low. Here's another example. Suppose that I'm wondering, how can I arrange transportation? And I think, I should buy that used car that I saw in the Gazette. Why? Well, because I want to spend less than $15,000 on a vehicle, and the thing in the Gazette is like under $10,000. So, buying this car is the first somewhat adequate idea that occurred to me. So I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to pull the trigger and I'm going to buy that car. Well, depending upon how much available cash I have, spending $9,900 could be a big decision. I can tell you, for me, that would be a big decision. I don't have like close to $10,000 just to throw around. So I should probably not satisfice there. I should look a little closer. Barely good enough might not be good enough. I might want to consider how many miles are on this car. How much repair will it take? How much gas does it consume? All of those sorts of responsible adult car buying considerations. Here's another example. Suppose I'm hungry and I think, how can I satisfy my hunger? That's a problem-solving situation. And suppose my solution to addressing my hunger is eating a bag of potato chips. My reasoning for this is, I want to stop feeling hungry. Eating these chips is going to stop me feeling hungry. And hey, the chips are available. And that's the first somewhat adequate idea that occurred to me. I think of this as dangerous if it's part of a cumulative series of satisficing solutions. Now, I'll eat a bag of chips. I'm not saying that we should never eat a bag of chips. If I'm really hungry enough, the thing that's available, or if I'm just really craving it, sure, I'm going to eat the chips. But if that's part of a pattern of satisficing dietary solutions, can you see what that's going to be? I'm going to be eating chips. Then I'm going to get home and I'm going to be hungry again. And I'm going to say, well, I don't know, here's a candy bar. And I'm going to eat the candy bar. And then later on in the evening, I'm going to be hungry. And what should I eat? Oh, I don't know, here I'm going to have a frozen burrito or something. And my entire dietary life is just marginally enough to have me not be hungry. I think that's going to be injurious to my overall long-term physical health. So there you have it, satisficing. Sometimes thinking about what is the first barely adequate, or maybe not even barely adequate, what is the first adequate situation that occurs to you in the moment, and adopting that. Sure, sometimes if you're rushed, if it's not a big deal, if your acceptability threshold isn't too low, and if it's not part of a cumulative series, yeah, go for the satisfying solution. But sometimes it does pay to optimize or to virtually optimize and ask yourself, are there other options that we should be considering? So far we have seen argumentation, decision-making, and problem-solving. In the next and final video of this series, we are going to take a look at something rather different, critical thinking dispositions. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.